Nash in the last time out, but we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for what they go for in game number 4 here. The Jace obviously taken off the board as well, something that they went for. So there's a lot of tools that are missing currently. And IG decide, you know what? 30 bans is enough. 34 bans is enough. We'll hold off on that final one.
I'm trying. Listen, the gears are turning in my head, but you would see the steam coming out, the black smoke, if I didn't have the headset on, as to why they went with no ban. First pick Caitlyn. We expected that for potentially RNG, but IG have said, yo, Root Dude, you know what? This is a really good idea. Let's go pick this champion up.
You're clued into something here. Hold on. What does this Caitlyn champion do? And let's try and figure that out. I mean, Gala, no slouch on the Caitlyn for sure. What I love, though, from RNG is that they've already counterpicked what Mako might look for. So your Caitlyn's your Morgana, something that's a little bit typical in its routing tendencies. So the Leona going to have an opportunity to engage on those regardless. I do think, though, that Caitlyn's still relatively decent versus these two champs, and we might yet get to see it paired up with a champion that does very well versus a Leona as well.
Well, no surprise that they're going to think about the Braum, decide, hey, you know what, we'll go for our other pick. They go with the Renekton, nice aggressive top laner. And finally, the Shy is getting unlocked. The Shy has been on, you know,
Tank Jace, Tank
Gragas, but like he's been on a boring poo-poo top laner duty, and now he finally gets to, you know, get him off the leash, let the Shy be the Shy, and I'm interested to see how many times he's going to get picked off in a side lane this game.
I do like this move, though, from RNG to opt into the Ziggs. I think they'd already drafted a really losing lane in the Leona versus Braum matchup, and it's really difficult to find an AD carry that can go toe-to-toe with a Caitlyn, especially in the laning phase when Varus and Ashe are completely taken out the rip. So the Ziggs is a good adaptation to swing some damage into that bot side and alleviate some of the pressure from Giachi and Lele, because they would have struggled down there. This now means that the top side of the map is going to become honestly very physical damage focused for RNG, and that for their second round of picks, they also want to get some snowball going. They've got a lot of early game potential in the Leona and the Xin Zhao. We're now looking for an area of the map for them to play around with it. What mid laner are they going to be facilitating? What top laner are they going to be attempting to put the Shy in the dirt with?
As for the top lane, not really quite sure what to go with, but I think in the mid lane, as I've been saying, I've been preaching it, man. Put this guy on Ahri. He will perform with the Xin Zhao. It's such a strong combination. We'll see if they get an opportunity to do it. We're seeing Nidalee get taken off the board. Everybody very scared of the Nidalee Renekton hiding under your bed and dealing a bunch of damage to you under your turret.
So more probable AP junglers to focus towards Lilia. Not the best versus Xin Zhao, but there you go. Something that you can quite easily take out the board as well. And with IG, their final ban focusing more towards that mid lane. If they're looking to ban Sylas, suggest something like an Ornn, just something brutal, but that they'd want to try and play. Ornn's obviously banned away, so I'm completely capping, but something with a big ulti is what they're looking for on this 4-5 rotation. So they've got plenty of choices in that aspect. So far for IG, lots of early game already, so they should be looking to try and snowball through that early game and pushing lanes. Proactive jungler for Jia, something that they can really look to hammer home their Caitlyn laning with.
Yeah, I'd like to see maybe an Orianna out of IG to kind of tie their room together. With a proactive jungler. Ooh. So it's like, okay, you go through and you get a nice little team fight. As the Volibear will be coming through. I mean, I don't know, because we've seen Xin Zhao top before, but it's probably going to be a top player.
I mean, yeah, well, we have seen. Yeah, you're not wrong. I would imagine it's going to be top Volibear versus the Renekton to sort of try and match the power of the laning phase. Renekton in lane can be relatively muted by the Volibear in the laning phase. I think the Volley's lane is also very, very difficult to try and deal with. But this is a Zac now locked in, and I thought that this was like a Zac into the jungle, and it probably is, as we get to see them continue with this early game snowball, the aggression that they're looking for. You hit level 5 on the Zac, you've got 3 points in Elastic Slingshot, and all of a sudden, you're going absolutely wild.
Yeah, Zac is going from other games into your game when he's got so many points in Elastic Slingshot. He just comes out of nowhere. And they will lock in the Zeri. I was very surprised by that, but they do opt in for it. Oh, no. RNG Don't do it, man. Listen. Oh, no. I had so much respect for them, and they just go and pick the Smolder, man. Come on.
Okay, so
It makes sense.
Smolder also got a little change on this patch.
He did. He got a little buff.
He got a little buff, which makes his build path just feel a little bit nicer. He can now apply Infinity Edge crits on his Q, so you do lots of damage with your Q now if you build Infinity Edge. Nadoy.
Woo!
But this is something that is going to be really tricky for the Smolder mid to try and navigate, I think, because typically you take this versus your melee matchups, your Silas, your Galio, to just stack on them more so than anything and continue to be able to become that threat just that little bit later on. What this means, though, for the RNG composition is that they've got now hyper late game in the Smolder and the Ziggs, but they've also got some really strong power through the early game in Milky Way, in Xiaoshu as well, to see how well they can use those two topside threats to leverage their early game to buy time for the Smolder, for the Ziggs, to coax them through to a late game victory.
Dude, there's one thing I noticed about this IG composition, and it's that they don't do well into armor with the Caitlyn, with the Zeri, with the Renekton. Zeri obviously has some magic damage, but I do wonder, maybe this Leona becomes too difficult to shoot through. Maybe later on this Volibear becomes nigh unkillable. What do you think?
You're looking more at the Volibear. I think that unfortunately tanks just don't get enough gold to be unkillable. I would love to see Frozen Heart Rush, in fairness, from the Leona. Like, that would be probably the best avenue that we can see Lulu go through. However, odds are that it's probably just going to get chewed through anyway because you don't really have that much gold. However, the Volibear, you are quite right, could very easily be a threat to deal with.
Yeah, the crowd's alive.
Let's just let that ring.
Yeah, I love it, man. All right, Rude Dude. So we talked about RNG having a little bit more proactivity early on. I think you get a lot of that with Milky Way being on the Shin Show.
Absolutely.
The problem is you have Smolder and Ziggs who are, a little bit more in the scaling department here.
Sorry, Yanni, let me rephrase for you. They're do-nothing lanes.
Yeah, all right, yeah, you know what? Yes, you're right.
Let's not beat around the bush. Let's go with how it is.
They sit there, they farm, and they do nothing, right?
Yeah.
Zhezha should theoretically have the whole world in his hands here, right? Because he can just gank any lane. Just that potent Zac can do so much. I worry that RNG has picked themselves a team that they won't see the fruits of the labor they're putting in on this mid laner and the bottom laner.
Because what we've seen already from IG is really solid proactive aggression. Games 2 and 3, they were ahead in the early game, right? And this is a great game for Zhezha to decide that he is back, that he is making that statement in the LPL, and that he can absolutely come out on top and do it with the best of the best. He's got the Zac, he's got all the playmaking tools available to him, and he's got all of these lanes that theoretically on RNG side should be sat pretty, kind of open to being ganked.
But you told me earlier we can't say we're so back, baby. But, we can say it for Zhezha?
Yeah. Like, I mean, this is his chance to make me want to say it,
All right. I respect it. We'll see what the move is for him as
me when I
both junglers starting on their bottom sides. You know what? That means that we could see action up in the top lane. And you know what? I think that would be the highest probability place to have any sort of action, save for Lila roam later on. As we all know, Leona has a great time roaming around when Ziggs is her lane partner because he can just sit back and throw those bombs.
You sit back, you don't really do anything, and then you like you say, disappear. But though, hold on,
flash burn! The Shy will be forced to flash out himself.
Ooh, timing a little bit off there from Xiaoshu. You're looking really to get the Sky Splitter down and flash in at the same time as you land the stun, as that sort of Sky Splitter lands as well. As attempted re-engage, no flash now.
I like it, and it's first blood for Xiaoshu as he runs him down.
Wonderful, right? This is exactly why we've seen counterpick be so impactful in many series gone by. The Shy takes Renekton challenges Xiaoshu, dares him almost, and says, what do you have that can beat me? And, you know, Xiaoshu here just decides, you know what, I'm right here. I've got exactly the answer. And the Renekton getting punished.
Oh no, I think they're going to have to put the Shy back on tanks after this one, my friend. He's been stunned. Wind becomes lightning. Zhezha, I don't think he can get there in time to save your friend. The Shy is doing what he can, but he will fall. Put him back on tank duty.
Oh, and he has to TP to force the crash on this wave. Otherwise, he's going to get frozen on and ganked anyway. So it's just so awkward a position for him to find his laning phase in. And don't get me wrong, this was self-inflicted after getting solo killed. But the play to try and go for that is ultimately something that needed to happen to keep him somewhat relatively close in this game. This is the initial solo kill. And then I think we'll probably get a look at the top side as well. me and you both, buddy. Me and you both.
I wonder if that was after the first death or after the second death.
Yeah, that's that could have been the first death. I think the second death is
the fist through the wall at that point.
Yeah, we're not allowed to show that on camera.
Yeah, a lot of broken keyboards, perhaps, or broken mice. You know, gamer rage gets the best of us all.
Exactly.
It's a rager up in the top lane. Xiaoshu, a small CS lead, but has put himself in a very strong position here. Has his tier, his ruby crystal, his cloth armor. I mean, the Shy is never gonna, should not theoretically have any way to pressure a kill anymore.
No, and at this point as well, I'd like to think that there's a decent experience lead for Xiaoshu, and unfortunately, I think that with home guards like dying, you kind of get a lot of mileage out of the home guards that are there. Jiaqi.
Okay, they're gonna go in on a Mako, but he'll be able to hop over to Gala, so everything's fine there. It's much ado about nothing, and really the expectation for a sort of lane like this. But you know, going back to the issues with the Shy now, I mean, there's your strong solo laner that you really wanted because, you know, while Caitlyn is able to impose wills, you can't really do so against Ziggs, and Zeri isn't really known for, you know, imposing the will early on.
Yeah, Zeri's not an early game champion either, right? Like, that's absolutely true. As now, Jeje might be in trouble.
Oh my goodness. Shoot, does so much damage right now, man.
Volibear is a very strong early game champion. This is known, this has been known, and now it's good to see that Xiaoshu is making the most of that more so than anything else. The question for me is how much can he leverage from the advantage he has got? What are RNG going to do with this Volibear to make sure that their carries in Tongyuan and Xiaoqi rather make it to that late game, make it to that point of power where they can be the carry and take over?
Well, Grubs is a great way of doing it, but hold that thought as Rookie's going to get engaged on. We'll be able to speed skate over the wall.
I mean,
Grubs
we got everything out of that.
It because Jiaqi will be able to whittle down some turrets as Rookie gets further engaged on. They're going to go all the way in, but is able to dodge out with the flash. Burns through the barrier, too.
Okay, a lot of buttons were pushed, but Rookie burns both summoner spells, so I think they'll take that, honestly, as RNG. That mitigates the power that the Zeri is going to have in this laning phase, and for the most part, keeps on allowing Tongyuan to keep himself farming up to scale into the Smolder that we're expecting. Also, you know, we sort of saw the gank come through, getting 2 procs of your passive, so as if people aren't familiar with Smolder, even though he sort of took over the meta for a little bit, champion gets stacks not just from farming, but from hitting champions with abilities as well, so getting a snot bubble and a quick Q onto Rookie is something that he's probably not found too frequently in the laning phase, so any extra bonuses are going to be definitely sought after.
Yeah, more than happy to have them. And now I think the next step for IG here is for Jeje to leverage this Caitlyn in the bottom lane somehow, right? You pick Caitlyn for this lane dominance to be able to get some plates. Ziggs is able to kind of neutralize that, but you have the hard engage. You also have Braum down here. Maybe make a play. He's already on the dragon. So, you know, we'll see if that's where his next stop is.
Yeah, I wonder what... well, I don't wonder. I can see what Gala is going to be building, but the end build path for this Caitlyn, we're starting out with Yuntal Wild Arrows, it looks like, with that slingshot in the back pocket. Whether that's just a product of only going back to base on an awkward amount of gold or not, but here comes the Jeje.
Yachi doesn't have that much mana, and he has to flash as they're trying to eviscerate the wave. So you got the flash on the Ziggs. It's all you need sometimes.
Yep, and he's got teleport as well to make his way back down to that bot side and catch the rest of the waves that do end up getting sunk into the turret. Gala working towards finding a BF sword. Certainly the next port of call. Probably has quite a significant amount of gold in his back pocket currently, you know, buying a 900 gold or getting a 900 gold base earlier on, and we've got like 83 CS at the minute. We are waiting to see Gala emerge out onto the Rift with some flat AD. And there was a change a couple of patches ago where Caitlyn actually got a decent buff to her Q. It changed it so that at level 9, your Q one-shots the backline, and if you get, you know, snowballed enough, you can do it at level 7 as well with rank 4 Q. But that's a really important change. It decreases your time to kill a wave significantly. You can just Q backline, walk away. That's, you know, far faster, and it is actually a really important change to have noted.
Yeah, I'm so glad they made that change for her because, you know, you gave it to a lot of mid laners. There was a couple of mid laners. You know, I think there was a couple of seasons ago at this point where they made some changes. Right? Yeah, they made the changes so you could one-shot the back line, and I'm glad they did it for Caitlyn because it's a champion that, you know, did need a little bit of love. Has always been on the outskirts of the meta for the ability to take plates at a rapid pace. So, you know, this is good. AD carries rejoice.
Given how weak the role is, we're allowed a little bit of wave clear now. That's very nice
please.
of them.
As a treat.
Oh, why we're so kind. I do want to quickly dial in a little bit more on our mid lane matchup that we highlighted at the top of the day. I feel like it'd be a great time to re-emphasize why we wanted to point this out. Because game number 1, worth mentioning that Tong Yuan wasn't the driving factor behind the win for RNG, but Rookie so far has been the player of the game for the last 2 games that IG were able to take home, and this sort of gauntlet of fire that Tong Yuan had to try and pick up, the mantle that he had to try and broach, hasn't really been ultimately that successful, and it definitely is proving to show itself, right? Rookie, even though they're dead even in this game, is just feeling that little bit more confident overall, and the emphasis on what he's been able to accomplish in these games has been far higher than Tong Yuan. And even though we, you know, have expectations relatively high for the new mid laner in RNG side, that they've not quite been met just yet, and the IG have got some semblance now of growth back from their mid laner.
And granted, Tong Yuan looked really good on the Azir despite the loss. They put the ball in his hands again on this Smolders. We're looking for an engage here. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb, but everybody gets knocked away. They aren't going to be able to close out on any kills, but RNG will be able to get 5 grubs total.
All right, so Tong Yuan goes back to base. He picks up his Essence Reaver and then teleports into the fight. Wonder if this means he's hit the breakpoint for queuing backline. Not quite. You're looking for the 125 stacks, I guess, for that to happen. But really strong breakpoints right here for RNG. Lots of first items finished. They should be looking to fight.
Well, Rookie does have his barrier available, but his flash is down. Lightning Crash just to kill
Turn
the
off
minions.
the turret.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a problem. Lila is just going to be able to tank it up without too much of an issue. The question is, can they get anybody on the backside? Xiaki takes so much damage from the turret and goes down. Zhaozhu going to be the next target. Zhezhe is still alive. Here's Mom coming through, and Tang Yuan trying to do his thing, but it's going to be a kill for the Renekton and 2 for the Shy. But now Milky Way and Tang Yuan trying to take over the flash forward, but Zhezhe keeps him under the turret and is able to trade it out. Yes, can they get the cell division? It's going to be close. Got the extra damage on. No, oh no, he did go down and the turret had reset. So Milky Way will survive. Wow, that was a crazy fight.
That was very close to being very dicey for RNG, but they find a good fight on that top side. It does cost them 3 platings in the mid lane, more gold into Gala's back pocket. But they'll be more than happy with that because now Milky Way, their carry jungler, the star of this show, is 4-0-1. This is the exact recipe that started them off winning game number 1 as well. Breakdown of how it all came to be. Really intrigued by the fact that Zhaozhu holds his ulti for so long. Jiachi ends up tanking the turret for way too long. Means that he's going to fall to a good quick flash combo. But then the Shy and Mako in this front line think they're nice and safe, and it's just these flashes that are almost baiting everybody in. Lula able to dice with death, keeps his HP about as low as possible and keeping everybody nice and toyed up. And then Milky Way here, I mean, this is so close, having to re-drop and juggle the turret aggro every time he goes for an auto. Really solid plays, edge of the limits, but exactly what you need to come out on top versus IG.
Yeah, and this is why everybody is so high on Milky Way. He is such a fantastic player. Truly a budding star in the LPL, 4-0-1 on Jinzhou. He had a very good Xin game in the last series against FPX. And it just seems like the Sky is really good on this champion. Now they're going to head over to the Dragon, looking to split one Drake apiece.
I love the dichotomy of he looks really good on this champion into Mrs. W on Stationary Dragon. You know, it's just, it could not be written better. Had we tried, really. But I love this lane assignment change from IG more than anything else, as we see them put Rookie into the top lane. It means that they really don't need to worry about the volley bear.
All right, Milky Way, a little caught out here, knocking a couple of people together, but the ultimates from the Ziggs and the Smolder do so much. The Shy is stuck, and Milky Way gets his 5th kill.
There's this fat wall in the way of Gala, so he can't actually do any DPS.
Yo, Rookie might be in trouble. Lightning Crash gonna go down, trying to get all the damage that he can. Using the ultimate, good dodge by Rookie. The problem is, I don't think Rookie's got the damage right now. Flash! Stun! You can't run from the bear! Rookie, yeah, he can run from the bear! He's able to get over the wall with just a sliver of HP.
Blinking HP on Rookie. Has to burn Flash and Barrier to survive. The rest of Invictus Gaming come up to bail him out of a very difficult laning state as the Drake goes down for RNG. They're 2 out of 3 on the objectives for the Feats of Strength. They've already taken 3 kills. The Feat of Warfare went their way earlier on. And IG, the second time in this series, on the back foot through the early game. And look at this for how RNG were able to navigate this fight. So Gala, he can walk in, 1 auto attack. Has to walk away from Smolder ulti, has to walk away from Ziggs ulti. 0 extra damage from the AD carry, whilst Tongyuan and Jiachi are just free-firing with all of their spells, all of their cooldowns. There was just not the same response from Gala.
And Milky Way's ultimate to just interrupt the knock-up on the Elastic Slingshot. You know, that sliver of CC time, you know, we talked about it at least earlier in the broadcast. That sliver of time is all these players need to be able to take advantage and pounce and turn fights in their favor. Really big play there is RNG. Not a huge gold lead, but things are looking fine for their scaling team. They have the breathing room.
And again, what we've known from this RNG series is that they can actually fight with IG. On parity, behind, and even a little bit skewed the other way. They've been able to take these fights and they've been able to generate advantages through 5v5 situations. So this is absolutely a world where RNG take us to 5 games, setting up now around this Herald. Revive ready for the Zac.
Oh no, Tongyuan got tagged and he goes down and out. It's just a front to back. Milky Way's gonna fall too. It's a double kill for Gala and they're still not done. Triple kill for Gala as Lela gets shot in the back.
And you get to see the second Gala can free fire is the second that IG come alive. Triple kill for the Caitlyn. Mid-tier 1 going to fall, the Rift Herald as well. And IG all of a sudden wrestle back control of this game.
Pedal meet 4. IG is so back, baby. That Rift Herald gonna go down and they're gonna try to make some good use of it. Man, that ward being there and Tongyuan getting caught by the Q on the Zac. Take a look in the replay. It pulls him back just enough here.
Yeah, and that incentivizes everything. Tongyuan not able to get out. CC taken down, and that is your consistent DPS threat. There is no focus on Gala, no focus on Rookie. Lila, you know, playing this Leona, had the Solar Flare to try and keep his marksman alive, but not the Solar Flare that stops the damage from coming through. And I am enjoying these coach cams, to be honest.
I am too. I think this is great. Rudu, there is a problem for RNG now. They don't have that breathing.
Yeah. No, they don't. They're in a troubled spot.
For a second. Oh, Gala slowed up. Can they get to him is the question. Mega Inferno Bomb will force the flash.
Okay, so flash early. I think it would have been fine to have tanked it and probably have to take a reset, but decides that staying out on the map is going to be much more valuable. And making sure that he's, you know, A-okay in that regard. Rookie now has absolutely no problems skirting all the way over that wall. As RNG are looking to make a play for this bot tier 1.
What percentage of the map is that wall? Like, that's so crazy.
It's pretty high.
Yeah, pretty high there as they're going to try to cut off as much CS as possible, but the satchel charge will get the turret credit. And remember, this is a 5 grub RNG. And
not again.
something that Ziggs can certainly take big advantage of. Is, you know, Tang Yuan may have had nightmares a little bit, but is okay.
Hitting Zach, who's next to a pink ward. Never did I think this would be such a dangerous task, yet somehow Tang Yuan makes it seem that way. 171 stacks, if I'm reading that correctly, now on the Smolder. So only 50 more until we reach that execute era where the Smolder really starts to come online and be quite terrifying. Probably going to happen before any of the massive neutral objectives spawn. That said, Atakan, I think we can also deem as a massive neutral objective. And I think this guy's getting 50 stacks in the next 50 seconds. I am deluded.
Yeah, if he does that, honestly, RNG deserves to win the game, right? So we'll see if he gets there. My money's on no, but the Dragon is coming up in about 15 seconds. We'll see if any team makes a move over there. It looks like RNG is heading up top, just in case Xiaoshu was shoved off that turret. He won't be, so they'll secure it.
I will say, I'm very impressed with how IG navigated this volley bear specifically. Xiaoshu came into this game, blind pick, or rather counter pick volley bear into Renekton, and got 2 very, very early kills over the Shy. Since then, this volley bear has been... Yeah, exactly. He's been absolutely rendered useless. And there was one quick fight on that top side where I don't really feel like we got the best use of Stormbringer, and IG have been very happy to just keep the volley bear in a side lane, keep him really at arm's reach, and nothing particularly has happened with it.
And listen, you'll never run into a polar bear if you don't travel to the Arctic, and that's exactly what IG have been doing, staying away from this guy and keeping those opportunities to a minimum. Maybe, hopefully they'll leave Xiaoshu with just the memory of not using his ultimate on that top lane turret fight, because that means he didn't have an impact on the rest of the game outside of that.
5-man grouping now. Well, I say now. The second I said it, we saw Tang Yuan move up to that top side to try and catch a top wave. The power of the Ziggs comes in his demolition capabilities, right? His sieging is relatively unparalleled for bot laners. You're able to take turrets down from 25% HP. You're also able to push waves exceptionally quickly. And it's worth mentioning that Jiaqi, in this position, should be looking to really carry the team through stalling more than anything else. As this wave should never really be broaching that tier 1 turret. See how easy it is for Ziggs to try and clear out waves and keep the team at bay. Looking like he's working towards some semblance of a Liandry's for his second item. With those fated ashes in the inventory.
Yeah, it looks like that could be the move, and it's so hard to wrestle away control from a Ziggs, and when you have these major objectives up like this Atakan, control is the name of the game. But the good news is, if IG really wants that control, they can say, hey, you know what? We'll send in Zhezha and try and get a kill if Jiaqi ever steps up a little too far. The problem is he hasn't really done that yet.
No, and it has been played, honestly, relatively passively. And I think that throughout this series, Jiaqi, game number 2, he had a bad hand trying to deal with all the dive that was going his way. But game 1 stepped up on the Ezreal, knew exactly what he needed to be doing in the late game, managed to do the appropriate mechanics, the appropriate diving forward. Game number 3, though, again, a little bit missing in action, for lack of a better term. So something for RNG to look at as we move a little bit more into their season. Mako able to get out using the Rift Herald, and the rest of RNG looking sadly as that thing drives away and takes their hope of a kill out.
Yeah, unfortunately, you go invulnerable there, and you can't be hit by anything. I've seen a couple of players use it to dodge out on some skill shots very recently, so good stuff. Love the innovation. It's something that's always existed since the Rift Herald changes have happened, but it's not something you saw very often. So
no, exactly.
Good job there by Mako getting away and preventing a pick from happening.
Yeah, well, you get to see there the little glimpse then of what Caitlyn can accomplish with her Q, right? You just see completely killing out the backline, and that equally halts a lot of the sieging potential that the Ziggs has. So Ziggs Caitlyn 1v1 matchup, it's just going to be quite simply a farm fest that doesn't end up yielding any structural damage on either side. As Garland moves his way towards what is presumably an Infinity Edge for his third item, definitely going to be something that keeps RNG on their toes. 50% crit chance on a Caitlyn. If you get that crit linking up with a headshot, that can do very, very terrifying damage to people on your roster, specifically the squishy, specifically Tang Yuan, Jiaqi. They're going to struggle to try and get through that. As Leandri's finished now for Jiaqi. Need to see him work towards that tier completion as well. So this is the catch on the Shy to begin with. Unfortunately for Invictus Gaming, nobody really close enough to take homage with the engage that RNG went for. But then Lilla just walks as though he's going back to the bush, but recognizes they have to come through this choke to find me, to try and do any fighting. Look at the Braum shield from Mako, though. Just about able to block one final instance of damage. It's very close.
So close.
But
hey,
IG,
you know what?
they limp away.
We had the Shy dying in the side lane solo. You know, it's not the same because it's a pin.
Okay, we're going again.
Hey, we're
6K.
back on Otacon. 6K, 5K, the Shy lying in wait. Rookie from the top side. Jeje ready to go. Elastic slingshot in, and it's secured by the Smolder. One execute goes down, sent back to the base. Milky Way turning on the Shy. Xiaoshu can't quite get close. Mako, Jeje, and Gala in hot pursuit, and down goes Milky Way over the wall. This could be disastrous. Hangyuan is unable to get a kill himself. RNG, they take Otacon, but 4 of them get wiped for it.
So the only real buff that they're going to get is that if they get more kills from here on in, they get a little bit more gold for them. Still the faux death on Xiaoshu as well. So the Volibear can give their life to try and walk in. Importantly...
Here we go.
Are we going again?
Just go. Oh, Zenith Blade does not land.
Okay.
Now will RNG immediately turn on the Baron? It looks like they will. There are some low health bars here. Coming out of the base is Mako. He's already in the jungle. The Shy has teleport available. He's
just
taking it back. Lilla getting tagged, pulled in, trying to Zenith Blade out, but he gets stunned, and he's taking a lot of damage. Yeah, you're right. Gala and Rookie will take him down. The Shy teleports in. He gets tagged, but he's fine for now. Milky Way trying to go in, but he is tagged by the concussive
Rookie's
blows,
free-firing.
and he's got to try to get out. Lilla comes in, and they find Jiachi. He's got to try to get out, but he's stuck, and the satchel charge won't help you. Rookie and Gala are running these fights. Tangyuan trying to get in there, getting the executes, but you only find the Cell division. And IG have put their stamp of approval on this game and are looking toward the Baron in search of the first series win of the year.
Rookie's looking for 3 pogs out of 3, turning the dial on RNG. They had no chance at fighting that with the Zeri free-firing time after time after time. It's not just that fight. It wasn't just the fight before. Every single opportunity, this guy is unchecked. The Baron goes to IG, and the series looks like ripe for the picking.
Man, this is, first of all, great to just whittle down Lilla just enough. Rookie with a great sidestep to make sure that he can't get out of harm's way.
And then again, just keep your eyes on Rookie for any form of threat that he feels. Dashes into Xin Volibear, who walk away. No threat at all. We're still waiting for anything to happen. Jiachi ends up going down. Rookie then flashes forward because he's not had the opportunity to get his E back up, because everybody's fearing and flashing away from him. Credit to Tanyuan there, because he is able to find the kill onto Gala, but it's one of those games once again. Gala is a carry, don't get me wrong, but Rookie has been doing more in these fights.
JJ going for the priority target, and he secures the soul on top of it. And it's a disaster fight for RNG because they lose so much, but they are starting to win on some sides. But Rookie is bearing down on the Leona, on the Ziggs. They got everything they wanted. And Rudude, they're gonna come away with a series victory. We've seen IG play these games, and they hadn't thrown a lead this big.
The JJ Redemption arc has been fulfilled. This Zac was a menace, a fiend, a demon to take down RNG in this game. And yes, they're going to play their little war of attrition, but Rookie and the Shy are wandering into the base, Nexus turrets in their eyes. A date in playoffs, certainly something they're looking for.
The sleeping giants of the LPL have awoken, and the league better be put on notice that IG is back, baby, with a 3-1 victory over the plucky RNG.
They tried as they might, RNG. A great win in game number 1 and some strong signs in games 2 and 4. However, IG righted the ship for game number 3, and they sort of stayed off any power that RNG had in game number 4. An excellent performance all round in that 3rd game. The 4th game had a good set of sequences that gave them the win as well. And I think that the Zach Judge finally having that show-up game that I'd been waiting for the entire series, really. The Zach really came to fruition.
Huge by JJ. Honestly, I think I'm kind of willing to give him the player of the game for that one. I mean, yes, rookie would be very deserving if they elected to give it to him, but this Zach, the critical pick near the Baron pit on top of Tangyuan was just perfect and exactly what IG needed, because from that moment on, the game was theirs.
Yeah, and we'd mentioned, right, that RNG's whole thing was, can they stop the pace of the game from accelerating? They'd got this Xin Zhao Volibear topside duo. What were they going to be able to do? Unfortunately, the answer seemed to be pretty much nothing. Milky Way 4-0 at one point in this game, and after that point, we didn't really feel like we saw the Xin Zhao do really anything post, 15, 20 minutes on into that match, whereas for JJ, it just complete opposite. We hit 15 minutes, and this Zach spawned onto Summoner's Rift, and for the most part, spawned on Jianjian's face.
He was everywhere, man. He was on every single carry. Really did a great job this entire game, and the entirety of IG was really firing on all cylinders, save for the Shy.